For hole 1 of the community tournament, I am using a Wind Ball Power 3. I'm going to do 2 right spin with 3.5 to 4 top spin. I believe about 3.75 is actually a good medium for this hole. I'm going to adjust at the +2 yard mark with the yellow right by the rough, and then I'm going to adjust my rings at an 1159 pull, since I go from the +1 to the +2 and not from the +3 to a +2. Wenzel does it from a +3 to a +2 and he pulls 1201, so you can decide on which way you would like to play the hole. For hole 2, we're using the safe big topper route, since the APOC is not 100% guarantee of a hole-in-one on this shot. So if you do want that, I suggest you go check out Ian or the Moist Rainbows or any of those guys playing that shot. But here we're going to use the big topper, full top spin, 1 left spin, and we're going to adjust at 0% mid distance of our club with the yellow ring right by this sand bunker. And then you want to see your line hitting the rough as it goes down. The big topper sets us up for an easy chip, sometimes even an easy putt for eagle, and this is a must eagle hole. For hole 3, we're using a Thor 6. Now you can use any club of your choosing that has the most topspin. You actually want to use about 7 topspin, and here we do 7 topspin and about 5 right spin. And we're going to adjust for 10% maximum distance of our club, and then we're going to use slight curl and slight overpower just to give it a little extra oomph to get it over and further down the fairway at our preferred distance. We're looking for a specific yardage, and that yardage is 370. At 370, we know the Guardian 7 plays at 30% club, and the Guardian 8 plays at 28% club, and this will be with a 10% elevation. You're going to use full backspin, no left or right spin, and you're going to aim 2.5 squares up and 1 square to the left, right on the line. So again, it's going to be at the slider position of your club with a 10% over adjustment, 2.5 squares up and 1 square to the left. Hole 4 is still a work in progress. We're doing the bounce over shot with our sniper. You're going to do max right spin with 0.2 top spin. Your blue ring is going to be next to the rough, and we think now that the offset is to the right of the cup. So it's hard to judge it, but once we do get the offset correct, we will update the notes in the 19th hole expert tournament guide. But for now, we are playing it at max distance with a 30% over adjustment to our shot. And it's coming in very nicely. We just now need to figure out the offset. For hole 5, it would be best if you used any level APOC that you have. 1 through 4, I would suggest using a power 4 ball. Here we have an APOC level 5, and you're going to do full top spin and full right spin. You're going to put the blue ring next to the rough, and then you're going to adjust your shot at maximum distance with a 10% over adjustment, and then you're going to push up to max. You're going to use full curl and full overpower. This sets us up for a nice short iron distance. You want to use the slider of your short iron with a 10% over adjustment. It's still kind of a finicky hole, so this is still a work in progress on our part, but I believe if you go up near the fringe, it's better than from the distance in the back, and do a 10% over adjustment with the slider of your ball. I did 80% slider here, and I probably should have done 90 since I went further up. Hole 6, you can use any driver of your choosing. Here we have a APOC 5. We're going to be using 5 top spin with max right spin. We're going to start at the +2 yard mark and then adjust for a 10% over adjustment at maximum distance of our club. When you set up your shot at the +2 yard mark, have the blue slightly into the rough and then over adjust your shot by 10% at maximum distance of your club. For your curl, you want the outside of your ball just touching the outside of your ring. We're looking for a consistent drive of around 355. At 355, we know our sniper plays at 35% club. So here, we're going to do max right spin with 1.5 to 1.2 sometimes of backspin, depending on the angle you are at the hole. And then you're going to adjust at 35% of your club with a minus 20% elevation change. So that's going to be playing it uphill minus 20%. For every yard before or past the 355 yard mark, you can add or subtract 2.5 to get yourself the correct slider position of your sniper. For hole 7, we're using the Grizzly. For Grizzly 6, 7, and 8, you're going to start at the +4 yard mark, and for the Grizzly 9, you're going to start at the +1 yard mark. We're going to be adjusting at maximum distance with a 40% over adjustment, 40% over adjustment. You're going to be using 4 backspin with 1.9 to 2 right spin. You're going to aim your ball just there at the hole and then adjust your shot with a 40% elevation. For hole 8, we are using the Thor's hammer. You can also use the big topper if you would like to. We're using full top spin with 3 left spin, and then we're going to adjust our shot with a 10% over adjustment. When we go to take the shot, we're going to use about 2 rings of overpower and just a slight left curl. At 355, we know the Thor played at 35% slider. So at 353, I used the 2% rule and I played it at 39% slider. So you're going to use about 2 backspin with 1 left spin. You really don't have to use the left spin, but at least use about 2 bars of backspin. And then you're going to adjust your shot with a minus 5% elevation. So it plays uphill minus 5%. For hole 9, we're using the Thor's hammer again, but you can also use the big topper or the A-pot. Here we're using full top spin with 2 left spin, and then we are looking for our landing position, and then we will adjust with a 10% over adjustment and then push up to max. With this shot, we have noticed that with a wind of 9.5 and below, you can go full overpower and the curl that you see now and be fine. If you have a wind that's greater than 9.5, back off the overpower slightly because I have hit the rough with a 9.8 wind. But this sets us up nicely for a nice Endbringer chip, and sometimes you will have to use your short iron. But for the Endbringer chip, here was played with a 20% over adjustment, but if you are more to the right side where you are more uphill, it's going to play 35%. And the short iron, if you come in short, will play at a plus 15% elevation. So here you really need to pay attention of where you came in. So the more left you are, the less elevation it is, and the more right you are, the more elevation it is. So here it was played at 20%. At the slider of his Endbringer, and if you are more right and at a short iron range, it's going to play at a plus 15% elevation. Now if you are more right in an Endbringer range, it's going to play at your slider position of your Endbringer and 35%. All these shots can be found on the 19th Hole Expert Tournament Guide, and the link will be in the description below. And remember guys, hit perfect. Happy golfing.